up. This is a trim molding. I put the molding around the glass. Now this seam where the trim molding goes. And I don't know how much of this I'm going to be able to video, but we'll do what we can do. There is plenty of videos on how to do it, but the way I did the rubber on the glass, I let the groove here for the chrome. The second groove was the glass. I didn't use any soap or lubricants to put the rubber on the glass, but I will use WD-40 to put these strips on the glass rubber now. Show close here. This is the groove for the molding. I'm going to use WD-40. I'm going to spray it in this groove. Use the straw so it's not all over the place. Just enough to get her started. Then we'll use it where we have to. Okay, now we got to start putting it in. We're going to start at the beginning, in the middle here, but we're going to kind of size up the corner. Right now we're going to start putting it in. Maybe this will work. It wants to keep popping out of the groove. So if you have one of these, it's ideal for holding it. Okay, now I'll try to get my plastic and work it in. Not simple, but it's not the end of the world either. This is not easy. You kind of wiggle it back and forth, get it in the groove, and you need these clamps to hold it or it'll keep popping out. Okay, we're going to continue. Metal piece in is a little harder than I thought. It just keeps wanting to pop out. And then the rubber was popping off the glass. So I'm experimenting. I put a couple pieces of tape on it to hold the rubber in place. And instead of starting on the end, I'm going to start in the middle and see how I make out. All right, stay tuned. I didn't show how I did this because it took over 2 hours. Now I realize when I was researching how they go together, people weren't exactly showing it to you, but they were telling you about it. And I could see why, because it wasn't very easy. But what I did do was, the chrome is like a C. And I got a pair of pliers and I would pinch it in. And that helped. But it was far from easy. This was one of the hardest jobs I've done yet on the the bug. And I'm going to continue and I'm going to try to get it in tonight. But this was a very hard job. My fingers kept cramping up. Now I could see why most guys go to Cal Look, because you don't have to put this piece in. If there's an easy way of doing it, I wish somebody would let me know or give me a link to the channel that shows, because I struggled the whole time. All right. Hello, it's a new day. I want to say what I learned from yesterday. I struggled an awful lot. And for the first time, I was kind of almost losing my cool even. Very close. But my problem was yesterday. I'm going to tell you now what I found out. You put the windshield rubber or the glass rubber on the glass dry. Then the chrome strip you want to open up the galley that it fits in, and just very easy, WD-40 with the straw. You don't want to get WD-40 anywhere else but in that groove. If it comes out of the groove, wipe it down immediately with glass cleaner. Reason being, if you get WD on the glass and it gets between the gasket and the glass, then the gasket don't want to stay on the glass. So put the gasket on dry, put WD-40 for the chrome trim, but only in the galley, use the straw and very little bit of it around. It'll flow around. WD is like very flowing. All right, we're going to get started. I'm going to start putting the rubber on here. I won't video the whole thing because it's going to take a while. And I'll show you bits and pieces of it. I think it's best to start with the glass from the outside. If you're outside the vehicle, the glass has got a hump to it with the hump up. And then the molding, the rubber molding, I would start in one corner. Might need a little bit of Windex or something in that one corner to get started. But there's two grooves here. There's the wider one that my finger's showing now. That's for the chrome. This one's for the glass. So we got to get that in there. We're going to start right here in this corner. It's not easy, but it's doable like everything else. When you're putting it on dry like this with no lubricant, it helps in the next stage because, like I said a little earlier ago, you don't want this glass slipping off like crazy. The rubber. Now the rubber is staying on there like it's glued on there. That's what you want when you're putting the chrome on so it doesn't come off. You have to fight with getting it on dry, but it goes. And believe me, you'd rather fight with it to put it on dry than to fight with it when it keeps falling off and the chrome strip popping out. It could be crazy. Just gotta take your time. You can see it's best to keep trying right where you're at on the glass. And you wiggle it back and forth as you're pushing it at the same time. That gets it on there. You gotta wiggle it. Last couple inches here. It's going on much easier than I had yesterday. Yesterday was the learning curve day. I struggled yesterday. Today, it's working out well. So far. I hope I could say that as I put the chrome strip on. Okay, once you get it on, make sure it's on nice and tight all the way around. Feels good. Now, like I said, you want to put some WD-40 in this groove here with the straw because you don't want to get it on the glass. So try to do it very gingerly. All right, I'm going to go find my strips. Okay, have some tissues ready. The WD with the straw. Put this plastic in here, or similar. Stick the hose down inside. Give it a little spurts. It's going on the glass there, and wipe it right off. That's what we want, just like that. And wipe it off. It'll flow downhill, it's very thin. Wipe it. Open her up down here somewhere. It's already flowing around down there. So now we'll do it down this side. Off the glass as soon as you can. You're getting on there. I'm going around the whole glass like that. Then I'll commence to put the seam in. Here's the insert. First I want to shape it to the fit. I didn't do that yesterday. Very easily bend it to fit where the rubber is. See, it's way off here. So we're going to go the opposite way. We want this kind of in the center too. It don't have to be perfect, but you want it kind of in the center. Okay. By that, now just got to come out. Very easy. And now we can start bending it here. This bends very easy. You're not going to break it. Okay, now it's close to what we want. It's not exact, but just super close. Now we'll start sticking it in there. These are the tools I used yesterday to help. When I first started, I clamp it down one of these. You want to make sure it has the soft ends on it so it doesn't scratch up your molding. And I used this pliers to kind of like pull it in, but I taped it up good so again, that don't scratch it. So they're the tools we'll be using. You kind of stick it in the groove and start wiggling it down. Now that it's in the groove there, I'm going to put a clamp on it. Now hold it, otherwise it'll be popping out on me. All right. Now just keep wiggling it down in and using my tools to help. It's a tedious job, but it's very doable. Like I said, yesterday it had me crazy, but I figured out a couple things, and that's all it took. Now I know how to do it. Well, I know how to do it better than I did yesterday. Let's put it that way. The trick is, I'm going to show you, I'm using that, I got the back section in here. And then the front section, I get this screwdriver, very thin, small. Be very careful you don't want to hit the glass, but this pulls it out on the opposite side and lets it fall down into place. Believe me, I struggled with this yesterday. And I hope you don't have the problems I had, but I'm glad to be back on track. Everything's looking good now. Every once in a while I go back and make sure she's in place. Then I continue. Hope you can see what I'm doing. I wiped the WD-40 extra WD-40 off, the excess, because I don't want it going down on that glass. Go about 2 or 3 inches. In this case, around the bend. And then work that. It's in the back here. You pull this up in the back. Make sure that's good. Now you get this open because it's caught under. Okay, I'm going to take a little breather. Okay, as you know, half is done. Just a reminder, now we're going to start fitting this piece. Like I said, it'll look like they don't fit, but you have to shape it. Shape it ahead of time, it'll save you so much frustration. I sprayed the first half with WD, but I didn't do the second half because I didn't want it making a mess. So I'm doing it now. Just fold it over with your thumb a little bit, open it up, give it a little squirt. Oop, too much, that's what kills you. You want to get that off that glass. The problem here is this molding that I was is the wrong package. It's either half right and the other one is short. So somehow one half of this molding got mixed from an earlier beetle with the smaller window. Or somebody cut it wrong. Something happened, but we have to solve it now because we're like 5 inches short, 4.5, 5 inches short. And I don't want to wait a week or so for another piece. You know, it's crazy. If we had time, but I don't consider, I like to work it out. So what I did do, I have a bus that has a bad back window that I have to be changing. So I took a piece of molding out of it and the joining clip. So I'll be using a 4.5 or 5 inch piece out of this to add to this. I'll show you when it's done. It's going to be fine. Like, Sally is a beautiful car, but I'm not building her to be a show car. We're going to drive this car. We're going to drive it a lot, and we're going to put it on the highway, and we're going to drive it through different states. And someday, hopefully, it'll become like an heirloom to my family. We'll never sell it. It's always going to be in the family. So I don't mind changing a little piece like this. Like I said, aesthetically, I'm not looking to get 100 points at a show or anything. I just want to get around with a big smile on my face because I'm driving my Super Beetle. This is the dull piece. It's a connector. That's the new connector. This is the piece I took from the bus. I'm going to put it in there. I'm going to put it to the connector. Slide it ahead a little bit. Okay. Now we're going to do the same on this side. This is the rope I'm using. Guys crisscross it here in the center. But I notice if I crisscross it and take it to each corner, it opens up the gap down here that I could set it onto the flange on the bottom of the window. And I think it'll help ease in pulling the rope back out and getting the rubber to the flange. Not sure, but I'm going to try it. It seems like it'll be a good deal.